Here at the National Hydropower Association Annual Conference, I had a chance to catch up with two of my favorite people, Rita Hayen and Sarah Verville from TRC. I'm really glad to have you all here today.
Thanks.
You know, speaking of NHA, I really want to talk about, first of all, the leadership that TRC has shown within the association. Of course, Mike Murphy has been the past president of NHA. Mm-hmm. Rita, you are now the current vice chair of the Regulatory Affairs Committee, yes. A big committee for NHA. And Sarah, you've had a long history with serving NHA. Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, I was a vice president several years ago of NHA, a longtime board member, as well as the chair of the Regional Meetings Committee for several years.
Well, in addition to all this volunteer work, you guys have real jobs to do. Talk to me a little bit about TRC and what are the services that you provide for the industry?
Well, TRC is a national energy and environmental consulting firm. We've got about 2,500 employees throughout the country. We're in many states. Our hydropower services group is based in Augusta, Maine. Though we also have offices in Wisconsin, which is Rita heads up the Wisconsin office. We have hydropower services out of New York and also out of Sacramento, California. Our services, run the gamut from environmental studies. We specialize in wildlife, recreation, shoreline management, cultural resources. We also do a lot of sort of the traditional FERC licensing services, preparation of FERC licensing documents, NGO and agency consultation, settlement negotiations, and then we have an administrative services component helping our clients prepare budgets and schedules. And finally, we have a large GIS group who provides our hydropower clients around the country with GIS services.
That's fantastic. I learned a lot. There's a lot of things that you all do. Both of you have had great careers in hydro, but you're actually fairly new to TRC. I thought if you could share a little bit about your background and what you did before you came to TRC, that'd be great. Rita, would you like to start?
Sure. I was with Wisconsin Electric, now called We Energies, for 19 years, and did their licensing for a number of years. Helped them negotiate the Wilderness Shore Settlement Agreement, which kind of paved the way for the alternative licensing process that we've got now. Spent some time at American Transmission Company, managing their environmental department, and then Mike made me an offer I can't refuse and came to TRC.
The rest is history.
The rest is history,
yeah. And Sarah, what about you?
Well, I've been in hydropower since 1986. I'm an attorney by background and education. I was in-house counsel at Central Maine Power for 12 years, and as an attorney was responsible for all sort of regulatory issues in connection with their 13 class of 93 projects, as well as a few projects that were licensed in the late 80s and then in the mid-90s. After Central Maine Power divested, and I wanted to stay in the hydropower world, I was with another consultant for a few years and then went back to practicing law, and I was in private practice for about 7 years, again representing hydropower clients, and decided that I needed something different and came on board to TRC about 3 years ago.
Well, it's interesting that you both come from that utility background, and I think that uniquely positions you to really provide the services that you do for the industry.
Well, one of the things that I find helpful about having actually worked for a generator for many, many years is you understand the internal processes and what is important to a client, the importance of budgets, the importance of scheduling, the decision-making process, the number of factors that a generator has to take into account that perhaps not all consultants are aware of when you're on the outside. Right. And I find that to be very valuable.
Rita, you've got some exciting news about starting this Wisconsin office. Tell us about that.
Yes, we're very excited to be expanding into the upper Midwest. We're doing some work for a couple of utilities, and in the past year we purchased RMT Environmental and added those offices to our Midwest presence. So we've got a strong environmental presence in the Midwest, in Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin. That adds to our offices in Chicago, Illinois, and we've got offices in Michigan. So we're growing pretty quickly, and it's really exciting.
That is
Yeah.
exciting. That's
Yeah.
great, and you get to stay in Wisconsin. too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Now, you guys are working, just as you said, lots of projects going on. It really is an exciting time for hydro, as we've
Yes.
heard here at the conference. Tell us about some of the projects that you're working on.
Well, I am actually working on a couple of relicensings. One is a very, very small project, a municipal project in Vermont, and then it ranges up to working on the relicensing of a pump storage project in Massachusetts for First Light Power Resources, and the Blenheim-Gilboa project in New York for New York Power Authority. So I do a lot of sort of regulatory work, advising, as well as oversee document preparation, and actually help manage some of the studies that TRC is responsible for.
Rita, what about you?
Well, I'm working with Wisconsin Electric again, and we're working on an amendment to the Twin Falls project. That was one of the projects that was part of the Wilderness Shores Settlement Agreement. So we've put our negotiating team back together, and we're working very closely with the resource agencies to develop the amendment. And it's actually a very exciting project. They're planning on building a new powerhouse. So this is huge. It's a 100-year-old powerhouse. It's tired and worn out, and it
So
needs to
their
be
idea is
replaced.
to replace the
Exactly.
old one with a new one.
Exactly,
Great. New
yeah.
equipment as well?
New equipment. And that's one of the neat things about working in the Midwest. There are lots and lots of older projects that are in need of rehab, and there are so many opportunities for increasing generation, increasing capacity. So, within the hydro industry, we're looking at the possibility of seeing even more renewable energy from hydroelectric plants.
Yeah, that's exciting.
One of the other things I want to point out is both Rita and I are working on a new number of compliance matters. Rita's doing that for Minnesota Power. I do that for NextEra. So it's not just licensing and relicensing, but it's sort of seeing a project all the way through.
Right.
That's exciting.
It is.
As somebody I forgot to mention earlier, I mentioned Mike Murphy and his role in NHA, but also Dave Ulan works for you, and Dave would be very unhappy with me if I didn't mention him. He's also a past president of NHA, a Henwood Award winner.
Yes, and he's in our New York office, heading up our hydro civil engineering services and trying to expand as well, because there is so much opportunity with these older plants and being able to do rehabilitation and refurbishment.
So you all have really assembled a great team of leaders and hydropower experts to offer to the industry.
Yeah, and it's exciting. I mean, there's no better place to be than with a group of high quality people, and it's people that I've known Rita for a long time, and of course I've known Mike and Dave for a long time, and it's great to be able to work with people who have such a strong background in hydro and bring the same sort of level of energy to it that I do.
Great. Well, thank you both for spending time with me and sharing some of the work that TRC does, and look forward to hearing more about these new projects in the future.
Great. Thanks,
All right.
Marla.
Thank you.